The Small Business Administration estimates that each year 627,000 startup businesses are created. And Rick Girard is on a mission to ensure that those startups have an opportunity to get off the ground by hiring the right people for the right jobs. He's the CEO and founder of Stride Search Firm, an engaged search firm. He's extremely passionate about helping startups and their founders win the strongest hires to fuel unprecedented growth. Girard joined me this week to talk about business diversification, inclusive hiring, and so much more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. We began our conversation by Girard detailing just exactly what Stride Search Firm is all about and the mission they hope to accomplish by working with startups to find their ideal hires.
Stride Search is an executive recruiting firm. We specialize in helping tech companies and entrepreneurs find the right people. And kind of the mission is to enable software startups and actually startup companies around the world to have the right tools to so that they can actually attract and hire the strongest people for their organizations and win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rick, just a little bit about myself, buddy. So I was actually born with cerebral palsy, and part of my professional background is to help individuals with disabilities find and maintain employment, buddy. So I'm curious, how do you think human resources professionals and search firms like yours can help sort of bridge the gap towards opportunity when it comes to employment for individuals with disabilities?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think first and foremost, there's a lot of talk about kind of diversity in the workplace and making sure that we're getting people on the bus who can contribute in a more meaningful way to the organizations. I think actually giving, for us, it's giving the entrepreneurs the tools so they can look past those things to gain evidence to support whether or not somebody is going to really be able to not just excel in the organization, but also contribute to the organization in a way that is conducive to both people, thriving, both the company and the person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you're extremely passionate about helping startup founders create a win-win situation.
Totally.
Well, like you said, to have the strongest hires to fuel unprecedented company growth. So I'm wondering if you can tell me about working with startups and how that has evolved over the years and why you're so passionate about it.
Well, I mean, I've worked with startups throughout my career because of the fact that I'm a builder myself. I love to get in and build new things. And so I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of tech companies in the Silicon Valley throughout my career. And I've helped them build their engineering teams and some of their leadership teams as well. And so that's just been very, I've been passionate about it for a very, very long time. I love the space. I love a lot of the people. And so, again, just giving people the opportunity or the tools so they can get past, their bias or their assumptions or whatever personal motives they might have, to uncover evidence to support whether or not somebody's going to thrive in an environment it's just something that drew me in, and it's been the thing that's kept me growing.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the ways you've sort of conveyed your messages through your book. So I want to congratulate you on the publishing of your book, Healing
Thank you.
Career. Yeah, you're welcome. Your book is called Healing Career Wounds, and I'm wondering if you can tell me the message behind the book and what you were hoping to convey.
Yeah, the message behind the book is that, hiring doesn't have to be as difficult as we make it. I think a lot of the quote unquote best practices that companies practice are designed to really kind of focus in on the transactional component of a job search or filling a role. And what we're trying to do is get entrepreneurs and business leaders to recognize that it's not just a quick transaction. It's really more about kind of dating a little bit before you ask somebody to marry you, right? Like you're not just going to spend 5 minutes with somebody and then get married, right? It's spending a little bit more time so you understand the values of the person and whether or not we're in alignment. And there's a lot of rich data out there that values and purpose and mission are actually far more telling when people align with those things than with just the work. And so when it's tied to a greater purpose, and hopefully we can help people to get there, then it's a win-win for everybody. And that's the message.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rick, I'm curious to ask you about being nimble and business diversification in business. When we look at it from an inclusive hiring lens, what do you think is the key to creating a welcoming and competitive company culture?
To creating a competitive company culture?
Yeah, what do you think are the keys to accomplishing that goal?
Well, I think it's funny. You can look to companies like Amazon, and Amazon actually built their company on their core leadership principles, and they hire for that, and arguably they've been the most successful company in the world because they've grown at such a tremendous pace, and the things they're accomplishing are incredible, right? It's basically just kind of deciding who you are and then building that language around who you are and then making it part of everyday decision-making process. It's about taking, living those values that you have established and allowing others to live those as well and to pass those forward to their customer base and everybody else.
Yeah, and one of the ways you convey a message is by hosting a radio show and a podcast entitled The Higher Power. So I'm wondering if you can tell me about the weekly LinkedIn Live series you host and how it's helping businesses all over the world, buddy. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's kind of the same premise as the book. I mean, I got kind of talked into doing a radio show about 5 years ago, and then it turned into a radio show and podcast, and we've been putting it out for quite some time. And, we started out as a recruiting show, and then we actually transferred into being a show for entrepreneurs. So again, we're trying to get the message out to people that, hey, look, you can actually build a strong organization, and you can build a really strong company by not playing the same game as everybody else. And we bring on other entrepreneurs and game changers within the industry that can kind of share ideas on how they are successful in their hiring practices.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know away from the office, buddy, you're quite a thrill seeker. Reading up on you, I know that you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you have an affinity for any adrenaline pumping activities such as surfing, snowboarding, and rock climbing, buddy. And you've even ran with scissors. So tell me, where does your thrill for adrenaline come from?
I don't know. I just have always been a person. I'm highly active. I'm always outdoors. Right now I'm building a startup, so I'm not outdoors as much as I should be. But I really enjoy kind of being one with nature and kind of immersing myself in an experience in which I'm living my life, and that's really kind of what I try to accomplish, at least on a weekly basis, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have a little bit of balance and perspective in life, don't you?
Sure, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, absolutely. And Rick, I'm curious to that. And how do you define personal fulfillment for you personally?
And my personal fulfillment comes from elevating those around me. I mean, if I'm able to take people who are around me and get them to a point where they want to be, where they're thriving, that's where I get my satisfaction, my satisfaction. That's where I really kind of get gratification for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me, Rick, finally, if your life was made into a movie, what do you think you would want the plot line of the movie to be and the overall message as well?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. What would the plot line be? It'd probably be the plot line of the guy who does everything wrong at first, but then figures out how to get it right. And then, I think the outcome of the movie would be, ringing the bell at NASDAQ, and building a company, that sort of thing. That would be a really cool story. I probably would be played by Mr. Clean or, Vin Diesel.
You kind of look that way, yeah? It fits the bill, absolutely. I just finally, as a follow-up, buddy, since you brought it up, how do you think is the best way to overcome adversity and turn it into prosperity in business?
It's just for me. I mean, just don't listen to what others think. It's just doing what you feel like what your mission is. I feel like I'm on purpose for doing what I need to be doing in my life, and just taking it task by task and getting to that point. I think everybody's going to tell you can't do something, but you're going to be the only one who's going to tell you you can. And listen to yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rick, finally, tell me if people want to get connected with all the great work that you're doing, buddy, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, you can catch me on LinkedIn. It's Rick Girard, or you can actually drop me an email at rick@stridesearch.com, or you can check out my podcast, or on Amazon. I'll show a copy. There's the book, Healing Career Wounds. You can pick it up there too. So I'm pretty accessible. Drop me an email.
Fantastic. Well, Rick, I have to tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed engaging in conversation with you, buddy, and I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to engage in conversation with me this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really good to meet you, Kevin.